Hi guys. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the free response from the 2011 exam, Form B number 1. So the topic of this would just be describing distributions, kind of the stuff we did in the first unit. So the problem says records are kept by each state in the United States on the number of pupils enrolled in public schools and the number of teachers employed by the public schools for each school year. From these records, the ratio of the number of pupils to the number of teachers, PT ratio, can be calculated for each state. The histograms below show the PT ratio for every state during the 2001-2002 school year. The histogram on the left displays the ratios for the 24 states that are west of the Mississippi River, and the histogram on the right displays the ratios for the 26 states that are the east of the Mississippi River. So you can see they give you the two histograms here. And then part A says, describe how you would use the histograms to estimate the median PT ratio for each group. Then use this procedure to estimate the median of the West group and the median of the East. Okay, so remember, median is the middle number when the data values are put in order. So there's a little trick to help you find the median that we kind of talked about, but when we were, I think, doing some review stuff, but the location of the median is always equal to n plus 1 over 2, where n is your sample size, how many things you have in your sample. So if we look at the histograms for the West region, n is 24. Okay, and the way I got 24 was just adding the heights of all of these. So this is 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so that's how I got 24. So the median, location of the median, this is not the median value, but the location of it, would be 24 plus 1 over 2, which is 12.5. So that means the median is going to fall between the 12th and 13th data values. So if we go back to the histogram, so if we keep kind of adding these up, so this is 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 plus 6 is 11, and then 11 plus 3 is 14. So it's going to be somewhere in this bar right here between 15 and 16 where I'm going to get to that middle data value. Okay. So the median for the West is in the interval 15 to 16. Now we don't know the exact value because it's a histogram, but we do know it's in that interval. And then for the East region, use a similar strategy. So the n is 26, again, by just adding the heights of all the bars. So the location of the median is 26 plus 1 over 2, which is 13.5. So it falls between the 13th and the 14th data values. So if we go back to our histogram and just add up. So this is 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 4 is 10, plus 11. So somewhere in this bar right here is when we're going to get to that data value. So it's in the same bar as the West region. So it's somewhere between 15 and 16. All right, so that's part A. Then part B is a classic SOX question. So part B says, write a few sentences comparing the distributions of PT ratios for the states in the two groups, West and East, during the 2001-2002 school year. So you can even see on my answer here, I wrote SOX. So that first S is the shape. And just remember, when you're doing SOX, make sure you put context. You say what you're talking about, what the distribution is. So the shape of the distribution of pupil and teacher ratios for west of the Mississippi is skewed to the right. So the west of the Mississippi is skewed to the right, where east of the Mississippi is roughly symmetric. Okay, so the shape. I'm going to skip outliers. I'm going to go to center. And since in part A, remember, if one of the distributions is skewed, you should always use the median instead of the mean as the measure of center. So we already calculated the medians in A, or estimated where they are, so I'm just going to use that for my center. So from part A, the medians for the West and East are roughly the same. That's my C. My other S is spread. So an easy measure of spread to use from a histogram is just the range. So the West region has more variability than the East region, with a range of 10 for the West and 7 for the East. Okay, and how I got the ranges, as you can see, this goes from 12 to 22. So that's how I got the 10. And this goes from 12 to 19. So that's how I got the 7. So Not just saying what the ranges are, but then making that statement where I compare, where I say the one has more variability than the other. And then the O for outliers, there does not appear to be outliers in either region. Okay, there's no data values that look like they're far away. Again, we don't know for sure. But actually, if you look at the rubric for this question, all they want you to talk about is the S, the C, and the S. The outliers, they aren't grading you on since it's hard to tell from a histogram. So that's part B. And then part C here says, use your answers in parts A and B. Explain how you think the mean PT ratio during the 2001-2002 school year will compare for the two groups, East and West. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. So for this one, I'm going to say both regions have similar medians, which we already know from part A, and then it has to do with the shape. So if you remember, the median is resistant. So the median will stay put no matter what the shape of the graph is, even if there's outliers, but the mean is what we call not resistant. So if there's outliers or the graph is skewed, the mean is going to get dragged in that direction. So then we know they both have similar medians, but since the West region is skewed to the right, the mean will be greater than the median for that region. And since the East region is roughly symmetric, the mean and the median will be similar. So based on that, the mean for the West region should be larger than the East. So that's a really important thing to make sure you know for the AP test is how the shape of the distribution affects the location of the mean and the median. So just remember, median is resistant, doesn't change. Mean always gets dragged up or down depending on which way it's skewed. So, okay guys, that's all for today. I will talk to you again soon.